Welcome back. I hope you've got your pen and your paper and you are ready to tackle the answers before I give them to you. So this is what we're doing, human populations and interactions, and now we're focusing on, given the definition, can you supply the term? Remember that you have to read the statement, offer only one term, and check your spelling to make it as accurate as possible. So we're following the ROC strategy. When organisms fight over limited resources in the environment, what do we call this? Can you write it quicker than what I can? I hope you do. We're talking about competition. I heard you say, yes, I got that right. Well done. When organisms are hunted to provide food, what is that answer? Predation. Good. We're on a roll. When organisms occupy the same niche, but they manage to avoid competition, what do we call that? Well, we can call it niche partitioning. In other words, we are going to separate or partition the niche. Another term for it could be specialization. Now, what do you do in a test or an exam when two terms are equally correct? Please don't give two terms. Select the one that you think is correct. On your teacher's memorandum for this test, your teacher will have both terms and will be able to mark the one that you have selected. Please only give one term per question. Let's move on. A graph that illustrates gender and age groups in a population. Once again, we could call this an age-gender distribution or an age-gender graph, or we could call it an age-gender pyramid. All of those terms are correct. You just supply one term. The shape of the human population growth curve, we are looking at an exponential growth curve. The kind of competition where baby birds in a nest, so we're looking at the same species, compete for food from the parents. So the same species, that is intra-specific competition. So two words making up our one term. Make sure that you spell this intra-specific correctly. The number of individuals of a population that a particular area can support, that is known as the carrying capacity. And you need to put both words down because carrying capacity is the full term. When different populations live in an area, what do we call that? Well, different populations in an area build up a community. How did you do with those questions? Were you able to write them down quickly or answer them in your head? I hope so. Terminology is so important. You can score such a lot of marks as long as you know your terminology. But let's move on. We're going to now focus on paragraph writing. In our last lesson, I gave you all the tips on how to tackle paragraph type questions. Make sure that you read the question. Make sure that there is a topic sentence. Don't repeat the question at the start of the paragraph. Make sure that your sentences are logically structured. Keep your sentences short. Once you've written the paragraph, read through it, edit it in order to check grammar and spelling, and finally check that what you have written actually answers the question and that you haven't gone off at a tangent talking about something else that doesn't in fact answer what you are asked. Are you ready to try an example? Let's go. Write a paragraph in which you, and here we go, number 1, identify the kind of graph illustrated by A and B, and then you describe the relationship between the two curves. So our question, in fact, asks you to do 2 things. And so in our paragraph, we must make sure that we don't only address the first part of the question, that we also answer the second part of the question. Let's look at the question and the graph again and see if we can identify what is the focus, because that's going to be our first topic sentence of our paragraph. So we're dealing here with the kind of graph and a relationship between 2 curves. We've got population size and we've got time. And we can see that our 2 graphs are following more or less the same pattern, but one graph is slightly delayed and the population size is lower than the other graph. What do we have here? What we're looking at is a predator-prey interaction or a predator-prey relationship graph. And that must be part of our topic sentence. We need to kind of highlight to the examiner or your teacher who's marking your test that you know precisely what it is you're going to be talking about. So I'm going to show you my paragraph, and let's see if we've answered both parts of the question in my paragraph. So, identifying the kind of graph and describing the relationship. Here is my topic sentence. The graph illustrates a predator-prey relationship. A nice, short, simple question. A simple sentence. Short, small, and what it does is it gives us the focus of the rest of the paragraph. We understand that the rest of the paragraph is going to be about predator-prey relationships. A, because we were asked to identify A and B, A is the prey graph, right? So we can see A, the pink graph up there, that shows us the population of the prey, and B is the predator graph. So the blue one is the predator graph. Now we also have to describe the relationship between the 2 curves. So let's get on to that one. An increase in the size of the prey population, so an increase in the pink graph, provides plenty of food for the predator population, which therefore also is going to show an increase in size. As the predator population increases, so as blue increases, we're going to see that obviously more prey is going to be eaten. And we're going to see the prey population, the pink graph, now decreasing. The smaller prey population means, oh no, less food for the predators, and some will also die then of starvation, or they might actually emigrate and say there's not enough food, so we're going to leave the population. And what we're going to see here is that the blue graph is also going to decrease. But with fewer predators, the prey population then can increase in size. And so we see the pink graph increasing again in size. And the whole cycle is going to start all over again. This continues in regular cycles, maintaining a balance between the 2 populations of the different species. All right, so we've addressed everything that was in that question. We've got short sentences. Our sentences are logically constructed according to how the question was structured. I think that's a great paragraph. Let's look at another one. Write a paragraph in which you describe the trends. And remember, when we talk about trends, we're talking about patterns in the relationship. So what is our graph? Our graph shows human population growth, and that is indicated with the purple graph, and extinction rate of other organisms. That is our green graph, and we see that as the purple graph increases, so does the green graph. So now we have to write a paragraph in which we describe these trends. What are we going to use as our topic sentence? I think our topic sentence really needs to indicate what the consequences are for an increase in the human population. So what was my paragraph? The graph illustrates a comparison between the human population growth rate and the extinction rate of natural populations over the same period of time. So here, my topic paragraph is a little bit longer than what, my topic sentence is a little bit longer than what we have used in other paragraphs. But what that topic sentence does is it explains the whole purpose of the graph. It almost gives us a title for the graph as well. Now let's go on and look at the rest of the question. We have to describe the trends. The graph indicates that as the human population had been growing exponentially, we see that the extinction rate is also increasing exponentially. So this indicates that there could be a causal relationship between the increase in human numbers and the increase in extinctions. So we've described the trend. The trend means what is the pattern? As one increases, so is the other one increasing. And the consequences of that are that we can see that it's possible that the increase in human population rate is causing an increase in the extinction rate. We've suggested that the relationship is one of cause and effect. The cause is the increased human population, and the effect is going to be the increase in extinction rate.